Good morning. Welcome to today's training. We're going to do a random bits episode. So I'm excited to have you here. so just, my brain. I'm Marshall Burtcher. I help codependents rediscover their well-being and happiness, specifically after narcissistic abuse and codependency. I help them accomplish that by healing the trauma bond, and we do that with 3 steps by restoring safety, sanity, and self. And I help them come to know who they are by discovering their value, voice, and vision, and then help them create happy relationships through building compatibility through a model I call the what, how, who model. So that's me. It's good to see you guys. I'm excited to be here with this Random Bits episode. Before we get started with today's topic, which will be a variety of them, Sly Fantasies, Martyrdom, what consent and how that works, and other ramblings I've got, I'm going to share this out to the community. The community is your safe haven here on the internet. It's called the Thriving Beyond Codependency community. It's where you can find guidance, support, and tools to assist you in healing and growing beyond your codependency and discovering who you are so that you can go forward and create a life that you enjoy living. So, link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube, and if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for, again, your support and your assistance in this journey. The the spring stuff is happening with all the plants coming alive, so the nose is a little on the fun side there. All right, so let's get this shared out. Boom, 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 and there we go. Okay, so let me know your thoughts and what you gain out of this work and out of what I share with you today and other episodes in the comments below. And because that feedback helps me understand how I'm impacting you. And feel free to suggest things you would like to learn more about as well. So, Random Bits. I have this series called the Random Bits. This is where I just shoot at a variety of different things. There isn't a whole lot of structure. It's kind of just me touching on things that I see coming up either within my journey or in other people's journeys, students or clients, that I see in the world or online. So this is episode 12 of that. And I want to start with Sly Fantasies because I see this show up a lot. I see it show up in my thinking and in other people's thinking. And there's some dynamics to this we need to be really conscious of, connected to, and sober with, because codependency gets us in really interesting ways, especially when we're dealing with narcissistic individuals or people that we've had relationship or attachment to in the past, and then something happens to them and, oh, no, they need my love. That's one of the Sly Fantasies, is that the person who had abused you needs love, and you're the one that needs to give them that love. This goes into this idea of martyrdom. They may need love, but they don't need your love. Let's be real blunt there. Your love is not what's necessary. And this gets into this fantasy of my love can heal them, which is entirely and provably false. Love doesn't actually heal. That's not its purpose. Love's purpose is acceptance and connection and building understanding. It doesn't heal people. People heal themselves. They move through their pain and find their own freedom and integration from it in their journey. Love can support that, but it doesn't necessarily cause that. Further, the other thing that's going on here is if we re-engage with someone who has been harmful to us in our world, we are not practicing love and respect and care for ourselves. We are martyring ourselves in behalf of them based on a fantasy that we think that this is what love does. We think, a lot of times people think that this is going to fix things. It gets you a breadcrumb from them, which reinforces the fantasy and not reality. It gives you a little euphoric hit there. And it puts you in harm's way. It sacrifices you. So we gotta be really, really direct and blunt with ourselves. Nope, that thing happened to them. That's their problem. They need to fix that. Oh, they need love. Well, then they can get it from somewhere else. We have to put ourselves first consistently. And that means we have to have honesty about what's really going on and what we're thinking and feeling and the situation is. And then we have to have loyalty to our well-being. The two core commitments we have to make as codependents to break free of that cycle and become our own self-advocate is honesty with reality and ourselves, and then loyalty to our well-being first. That sets us free. That allows us to make better decisions about where we allocate our emotional, our empathy, our time, our energy, our connection. And it makes our well-being the priority, so we're caring for ourselves. We're not putting ourselves back in situations with people who've harmed us in the past. Instead, we're avoiding it. And we're going towards people, places, and things that add to our well-being and happiness and that support, love, and care for us. And we know they do that based on the pattern of behaviors they exhibit and the pattern of impact results that we get in that experience with them. See, this is breaking that Sly Fantasy and that martyrdom, and it's getting us back into a sober reality. Very, very crucial and important as a practice. It's not just a one-off thing. It's something we have to be vigilant with and go, what am I trying to get here? If there's a decision in front of you where one option puts your well-being at risk for the benefit of someone else and the hope that you'll get something out of that, or the other option is it maintains your well-being and they can go on and get resources from somewhere else, choose what adds to your well-being. Respect yourself, care for you, love you, because loving you is that choice. It's doing the thing that puts you in first position and cares for you. It isn't about the other person. The other person isn't the primary person. They're not that important. They can access resources from other people, places, and things to take care of themselves. You aren't that important to their well-being. I know that can sound cold, but that is one of the big realities with this. We have to get out of the idea that giving yourself up for another person is love. It isn't. It's self-abuse. It's harm to you. There is no love involved if you're harmed. If you're harmed in the transaction of doing something with someone else, love has to play both sides. It's like, well, if this harms me, I can't do it, because it needs to be loving to both of us. It needs to be caring to both of us. So that's my little rant on that little bit. And then consent. This concept of consent is profound, but kind of a challenge to really understand and really accept. It's one of the more difficult things we face because we don't largely understand consent because we don't understand what's called autonomy. Autonomy is the practice of, or it's the fact of a person is whole unto themselves. They are not, they are the sovereign power and authority in their yard. So they have the power and authority over their thoughts, their feelings, their desires, their choices, their actions, and their resources, whether it's their body, whether it's their emotions, whether it's their capacities, their talents, their gifts, their skills, their knowledge, physical resources like items, property, possessions, money, things like that. They're the sovereign authority over that. Nobody has an entitlement to those resources. Especially in peer-to-peer relationships, there is no de facto entitlement in that. Now, a child does have entitlement on a parent to a certain degree, depending on their age and where they're at in their development, to use and require from the parent resources for the well-being and care for the child. But in peer-to-peer relationships, it's all consent-based. And consent's generated by a respect for the autonomy of that individual. It's the autonomy of their resources, their person, their capacities, all of that. When we approach relationship and relating from this premise of autonomy and consent, it becomes very easy to understand what to do, because consent's transacted through asking. It's lived through an asking and a reciprocation. So, hey, I'm feeling this. Can we talk about it? No. Okay, well, now we got a boundary. Okay, well, When could we? Well, maybe on Tuesday we could talk about. Okay, boom. I would like a pizza. Who do I, and then go out and ask for a pizza, and then maybe the pizza place will give me one. They don't have to. They're not obligated to. So it's always on a consent basis. This builds respect, it builds intimacy, and it builds a clarity about cooperation in the relationship. It allows us to see each other and build genuine connection, because now we're freely giving and freely receiving between each other. So when we come from entitlement and obligation, this is where a lot of the power struggles in relationships show up, and those are not very much fun. They cause a lot of drama, a lot of abuse, a lot of hurt and unnecessary hurt and harm in the experience. When we move to the consent and privilege basis, because all relationship is privilege, because it's something we ask for with a person, and that's built on that consent and autonomy basis, a lot of that power struggle goes away, because now we can understand, we fundamentally understand, I'm not entitled to their time or their affection. In fact, when we look at a person's contributions to us through the lens of consent and privilege, there's an enormous amount of gratitude that shows up, and a huge amount of respect that shows up, because now we can receive it and honor what we're being given and celebrate what we're being given there. And this generates a really tight level of intimacy, because now they feel really seen, loved, and valued for how they're contributing to their world and for who they are, and so do you. And that allows us to have fluidity and flex in the relationship, because sometimes the person's not going to have the capacity to yield something you want to them, and so sometimes you won't either. Sometimes it's going to be the same thing at the same time, like, oh, I can't do that either. Then you can laugh or cry or rant about it together. But that's the beauty of this. When we come from consent in our relationships, we build an honest relationship that generates secure intimacy, safe companionship, deep support, and empowering play. So that's my little bit on the consent function. Other ramblings, there were other things that were just running through my mind, and they're not there at the moment. But my friends, be gentle with yourselves in this journey. That's another thing I'm seeing, is that we have a habit of pressuring ourselves. We're not here to fix ourselves. This isn't about fixing, because there's nothing to fix. We are learning a different way to live. And in this different way of living, we discover, and then we adapt, and we integrate it. That's all we do, because we're really good at discovery. We are born discoverers. I'm a big fan of the Truman Show for this concept, because Truman wants to go out and explore the world. He wants to go to Fiji. And it's a really innocent and clear demonstration of what we are as human beings. We're very good at discovery. We're really bad at knowing things, but we're really good about discovering and coming to understand them and then utilize them. But we don't instantly know things. We learn it. So if you're following my work, or if you're in the Heal Yourself strategy, or the Know Yourself strategy, or the relationship strategy, you hear this a lot. But it's really, we're not fixing ourselves. We're developing a new lifestyle built on different kinds of skills that empower us to connect to the world and influence it based on who we are, what we want and what we need, and how we want that want and need fulfilled. That's all. And this approach is deeply powerful, because it eliminates shame, guilt. It switches mistakes from being a condemnation and connects us back into the beauty of mistakes. They become our teachers. And we become free of trying to be perfect. Now, a little tidbit here. If you're really struggling with perfectionism, you're struggling with a sense of condemnation over mistakes or perfectionism, or having wants, needs, feelings, or being who you are, check out the Reclaiming Innocence course. I'll post a link in the comments. It's not linked in the description above yet, but that will take you on a deep dive on reclaiming yourself from those condemnations and restoring your innocence in those things, your brilliance in those things. And it's only $47, so it's only 5 modules, so you can jump in on that. I'll post the link when we're done here. But ultimately, my friends, we're just here discovering how to live who we are in a way that promotes and generates results like love, being seen, being valued, being cared for. And that really requires us to understand and anchor into our worth and our value, and to maintain and protect and respect it, which gets us out of the Sly Fantasies, out of martyrdom, and builds us into the consent model of relating, so that we can have those honest connections and relationships in our lives. So, yeah, that's my random bits today. Thank you guys for showing up. It's a little short. I'll have 15 minutes. That's not bad. Appreciate you. Remember that you're worth knowing, loving, and keeping. Keep yourself safe out there, and I will see you guys in our next training.